Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made the winning card from our stamp wars from last Saturday, September 19th. And be sure to stick around because I'm going to tell you how to enter for some great giveaways that are happening on this channel and others. But first I want to thank Local King Rubber Stamps for sponsoring our September stamp wars. They provided us with these beautifully detailed stamps and also the dies that can be purchased separately. We also received an extra set that will be given away at a later time, and I'll give you those details in a bit. Alright, let's get started. So with this stamp set, because it's detailed and coloring it and then die cutting it is a little tricky, even though it worked out on mine. I'm going to do it the way that Nancy recommends. So you make yourself a template by just die cutting everything out of it. So we found the little fishy that I used on the original card. Now I'm going to find the stamp. And this is really nice because there's actually 3 different profiles, so to speak. You've got left facing, right facing, and top, which is really cool. And if you go look at Tracy Schultz's video, she actually did a card where she has all 3 of the fishes looking to the center. Very versatile stamp set. All right. So to make this work, you're going to want to use some type of sticky backing if possible. So that is the Sizzix sticky grid paper. And I have a little F on the front of my template so that I know what the front is and make it easier to put my little stamps in. And you literally just set them in there and just jiggle them a little bit like I'm doing, and you're going to know that they're set in there perfectly. So the next thing you do is you take your little die cuts and you pop them back in. I would recommend doing this with a heavyweight cardstock. Like I think I used 110-pound cardstock to do the initial template, and you can reuse the template over and over again. And so these stamps are a little different than normal stamps, what I would consider normal stamps, whereas they are like the fill instead of the outline, and so literally you color with them. Local King Rubber Stamps also created their own set of markers to be used with these stamps, but I don't have them, so I'm going to be using distress markers as you see here, and those are water-based markers. I'm listing the colors that I'm using on the bottom of the screen. No, I don't color this fast normally. I have sped this up because keep in mind this card did take an hour for me to make, and I'm trying to keep it short and sweet for everybody. Seaweed didn't actually take that long though because there was just 3 colors. And now the goldfish, while I'm coloring this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the mystery stamp challenge that I spoke about in my last video, which as I said is now called Stamp Wars. And well, this time we kicked up the fun a little bit by adding some random sabotages. And so what we did was we have a list of sabotages, and we would pick a sabotage, and then we would draw a name of whoever was participating, and then that person would get that sabotage, and it would have to be done by the end of the challenge. Every 20 minutes though, somebody got a sabotage, so all 3 of us got sabotages. The other thing that we changed up this time was that we also drew names to determine who would be the creators and who would be a moderator for the challenge. Chow and I were behind the scenes moderating last time for the Stamp Wars in August, and I'll tell you, it was a challenge getting the attention of the creators when they're deep in thought. Having someone who was live with them, you know, on the same channel, be able to interact with them was such an improvement and kept things on track. So Nancy from Nancy Stamps and Ryan from Glitter Grunge Greetings and myself were drawn as the creators, and then Tracy was the moderator. And then Chow, who has her own YouTube channel now called Create with Chow, was also behind the scenes on YouTube moderating, and Renee from SNR Creations was also helping out. Okay, so back to coloring. I wanted to point out that I actually redid my template because when I die cut them the first time, they were all a little bit too close and I couldn't get some of the red rubber stamps in there all at once, and so I spaced them out a little bit more. But you see that technique works pretty good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is this shimmery matte look. So I got out some Spectrum Noir Sparkle pens, And I just went around the edge kind of sloppy, just haphazardly, kind of looking like I want it to be like water look or something like that. And I used one that was kind of a greenish color and one that was kind of a blue color, just to give it a little bit. And then also one of the requirements for our challenge was that it had to have sparkle. So this was my first bit of sparkle. Actually my second, because on my card itself, I actually add a little sparkle to the fins on my goldfish, but I'm not doing it on this time around. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to work on is going to be the background. This is Canson watercolor paper, and then I'm adding some just drops of water to my Arteza Metallic watercolor set, and there's 24 colors in here, and I'm just basically using the blues and the greens. At this time, I also wanted to just let you guys know that Local King Rubber Stamps actually gave us a 20% off discount code, but it's only good for a few more days, unfortunately. Everybody's doing a video and we're all releasing it at a certain time, but the 20% off does expire on the 26th. So be sure to go check out their website. I will put a link in the description below. And I'll also be putting links for all of the other YouTubers who were in this challenge, because each and every one of them are going to be having a drawing on their channel. The one thing that you need to do is you need to subscribe to their channel and leave a comment during each of the videos that says that it's a giveaway for this particular stamp set. You want to make sure that your paper is completely dry for this next step, because we are going to be embossing. And we're going to be using the Hero Arts Rings Bold Prints background stamp. I'm going to be using the Ranger Clear Embossing powder, and I'm going to just put that in my MISTI. I'm going to use that sticky grid again, the Sizzix sticky grid. It's just a low tack double-sided piece of paper that you stick in there, and so I can get a full stamp without using my magnets. I did shorten this segment just a little bit, and what you don't see is that I did this process about 4 different times just to make sure that I got a good impression with the embossing ink. So we're just going to get the embossing powder on there, and then we are going to heat set this. And then you'll be able to see, after I heat set this, the little rings will be clear embossing powder over the metallic watercolor background. I'm going to cut this down now to 5 1/4 by 4, so it's a perfect front panel. And if any of you did watch the live, then you'll know that I did Joseph's coat on this. And at this point, yeah, I didn't realize it at this point in the video when I was doing my card, but you will see a little later that I fix it. But in the meantime, we're just going to set that aside to dry. Here we're going to use the Hero Arts color layer in Goldfish, because also, if you recall, my sabotage was that I had to stamp with one hand. I'm not going to do it in this video, but I did do it perfectly fine in the live. I'm also going to use some clear embossing powder on this sentiment, and it was the pigment ink that I used, the VersaFine Clair, so you can just go straight with embossing powder to that, and it works perfectly. And then I trim this down, and then I also rounded the corners a little bit. That was the one thing I wish I could have done better, was my little sentiment on my original card from the live. And yeah, this is about the time I realized something's not right, because my background and my border looked very similar, and I was like, there was no contrast, something wasn't right. Here we go in with Catherine Pooler Midnight Ink, and I'm just using a blending brush, and I'm just covering it with the black. Now, depending on what you use as the base, the ink may or may not really absorb into it, and I found that with metallic watercolors, it doesn't absorb it, but it kind of still pops through the colors from the metallics, from the watercolors, and I really like the look. All right, we're on the home stretch. So with a little bit of some foam tape, I adhered the sentiment. The original card actually tucked the seaweed behind the sentiment, and it was just kind of stuck there from the double-sided foam tape, and this time it didn't work out. So I glued it down, and then I'm going to, oh yeah, I popped up the goldfish. So I have this craft foam and it's adhesive backed. I ran that through my die cutting machine with the dye from the fish and just threw some glue on there, and I'm going to put that on top of the foam, and then I'm going to set that aside so that it can dry. And then let's do the other seaweed. Need that fish for placement. This is the great part about the sticky backed craft foam, because you just peel off the backing and there you go. And there it is. A little bit different color on the fish itself, but otherwise I think they turned out very similar. So again, I want to thank Local King Rubber Stamps for sponsoring our September Stamp Wars, and also providing us with a discount code which can be used on anything in their shop. Don't forget to check out the other creators, as they will be doing giveaways on their individual channels. I will also be doing a giveaway on our channel, so please comment below to be entered into the giveaway. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're not already, and make sure you hit the notifications button so that you can get notified when I post my next videos. Thanks. Talk to you next time.